Welcome to Fazza Poetry World, where hearts turn into poetry. When I talk about her, something inside me changes in ways I cannot fully control or explain. It is not just a conversation anymore. It feels like a quiet revolution happening inside my chest, soft, unpredictable, and deeply personal. Her name does not simply come out of my mouth, it travels through my heart first, then becomes words. And in that moment, everything in me shifts. A strange happiness rises without permission. A soft nervousness follows it like a shadow. And somewhere between both, I lose a little control over myself. I feel it in the way my breath changes. In the way my voice lowers without reason. In the way my eyes suddenly stop behaving normally, like they are revealing secrets I never planned to tell. She is not just someone I mention. She is someone who appears in my entire expression. Even before I finish her name, people notice it. They notice me. They notice the difference. Because when she enters my thoughts, I do not remain the same person I was a moment ago. It is strange, how one name can disturb my silence and also bring peace at the same time. When her name comes into a conversation, I don't even realize it at first, but my face changes. A soft smile appears, like it belongs there. Like it has been waiting for her arrival. And I try to hide it sometimes, but I fail. Because feelings like this do not obey rules. They do not ask for permission. They simply show themselves. And I start noticing something even more interesting. People around me notice too. They become curious. They look at me differently. As if they are trying to decode something invisible happening inside me. They ask questions. Small questions at first. Then deeper ones. Who is she? What is so special about her? Why do you always change when you talk about her? And I try to answer them. I really do. But every answer feels incomplete. Because how do I explain someone who lives more in my emotions than in my explanations? How do I describe a presence that cannot be fully captured in language? Words feel too small. Too limited. Too ordinary. But she is not ordinary. Not to me. Not even close. She exists in a different space inside my life. A space where thoughts are softer. Feelings are louder. And silence becomes meaningful. When I speak about her, I am not just describing a person. I am revealing a feeling I have carried quietly for a long time. Sometimes I pause while talking about her. Not because I forget what to say, but because I feel too much at once. And in that moment, even my thoughts slow down. It is like my heart takes over the conversation. And my mind just listens. She has that effect on me. Without doing anything loudly. Without demanding attention. She simply exists, and somehow, that is enough to affect everything around me. Even my body reacts before my words do. My expression softens. My confidence becomes mixed with shyness, and my voice loses its sharpness, becoming gentler without effort. It feels like my personality bends slightly every time she is mentioned. Not breaking, just changing. adapting, revealing something real. And maybe that is why people get curious. Because they see a version of me that I don't show for anything else. Not for success. Not for praise. Only for her. And deep inside, I also realize something slowly over time, that I do not feel ashamed of it anymore. At first, I used to hold back. I used to control my expressions. I used to hide how deeply her name affected me. Because I was unsure how it would be understood. I thought silence was safer. I thought distance from emotions would make things easier. But I was wrong. Very wrong. Because emotions that are real do not disappear when hidden. They only grow quietly in silence. And eventually, they find their way out anyway. So now, I do not run from it anymore. When her name comes up, I let it exist. I let my smile happen. I let my silence speak when words fall short. Because there is honesty in it. And honesty does not need permission to be seen. Sometimes, I even wonder what she would think if she could see me in those moments. If she could see how her name affects my entire state of being. Would she laugh softly? Would she feel shy? Would she realize that she has become a quiet part of someone's everyday thoughts? I do not know. But the thought itself is enough to make my heart pause for a second. Because she is not just a passing thought in my day. She has become a consistent presence. Not loud. Not demanding. But deeply existing. Like something that stays even when everything else changes. And this is only the beginning. After some time, I started realizing something deeper about my own heart. It was not just about talking about her anymore. It was about what happens inside me when I think about her in silence. Because silence is where the truth becomes the loudest. When everything around me is quiet, her presence becomes even louder in my thoughts. Not as a voice, but as a feeling. A steady, gentle feeling that never fully leaves. Sometimes I am doing the most normal things in life. Walking. Sitting. Listening to someone. Or just staring at nothing. And suddenly, she appears in my mind. Not like a memory. But like a presence. And in that moment, everything feels slightly different. The world does not change. But I change inside it. I start smiling for no reason. Then I realize, it is because of her again. It is always because of her. And I wonder how one person can become this constant emotion inside another person's life. Not loud. Not forceful. But always there. Like a soft echo that never fades. There are moments when I try to focus on other things. Life. Work. People around me. Conversations. But even in those moments, she stays somewhere in the background of my thoughts. Not disturbing me. Not distracting me in a painful way. Just, present, like a soft light that never turns off completely. And I have learned something important from this feeling. Love does not always come as something dramatic. Sometimes it comes quietly. So quietly that you do not even realize when it started becoming part of you. It slowly becomes your habit, your comfort, your emotional language. And that is exactly what she has become for me. A feeling I do not need to explain to myself every time. Because my heart already understands it. When I think about her deeply, I feel a strange mix of emotions again. Pride, care, softness, and a little helplessness too. Not because I cannot do anything, but because some feelings are too pure to control. They just exist. And you learn to live with them. I have also noticed something else. Whenever something good happens in my day, she is the first thought that appears in my mind. And whenever something goes wrong, she becomes the silent comfort I think about without even realizing it. It is like my mind has connected her presence with both my happiness and my peace. And maybe that is why she feels so important. Because she is not only part of my happy moments, she has become part of my emotional balance. Even when I am alone, I do not feel completely alone anymore. Because she exists in my thoughts. And that is enough to change the feeling of loneliness into something softer. Something bearable. Something meaningful. There are also moments when I imagine her reactions. Not because I want answers, but because my heart naturally creates those imaginations. I imagine her smiling softly. I imagine her being a little shy when she hears what I feel. I imagine her not fully understanding how deeply she is felt, but still sensing that she is important. Very important. More than she probably realizes. And in those imagined moments, I do not expect anything from her. I just feel peaceful. Because even imagination becomes comforting when it is built around someone you care about. But reality is different. Real life does not always show feelings the way the heart feels them. So I keep many things inside. Not because I am afraid, but because some emotions are too personal to be spoken loudly. They feel better when they stay gentle. Uninterrupted. Pure. Still, there are times when I wish I could explain everything properly. Not in confusion. Not in pieces. But in one complete truth. A truth that says exactly how deeply she exists in my thoughts. But even then, I know something, some feelings are not meant to be fully explained. They are meant to be lived. Slowly. Quietly. Honestly. And she is one of those feelings. A presence that does not demand attention, but still becomes the center of attention inside me. Every time I talk about her now, I feel less nervous than before. Because I am no longer hiding what I feel. I am simply expressing it in the way it comes naturally. Without fear. Without overthinking. Just honesty. And maybe that is the real change she brought into me. She did not just become someone I think about, she became someone who taught me how to accept my own emotions. To not run from them. To not hide them. But to understand them. And that is why, even if I do not say everything out loud, my heart still continues to speak for her in its own quiet language. A language only feelings can understand. And this is where her story inside me. Now I understand something I could not understand before, Some people do not enter your life loudly. They enter quietly. So quietly that you only realize their importance when your heart has already accepted them as part of itself. She was like that for me. No announcement. No warning. Just a slow presence, growing into something deeper than I could explain. And now, even when I try to think of my life without her in it, it feels incomplete. Not broken. Just incomplete. Like a sentence missing its most important word. There are days when everything feels normal on the outside. Smiles. Conversations. Routine. But inside me, there is always a soft space reserved for her. A space that never gets filled by anything else. Because it is not meant to be filled. It is meant to be felt. Sometimes I sit quietly and realize, I do not even need a reason to think about her anymore. Her name alone is enough. Just one thought of her and my entire mood shifts slightly. Not dramatically, but deeply. Like a small wave touching the heart without making noise, and I wonder how something so silent can feel so powerful. There are moments when I catch myself smiling for no reason again. And I already know the reason before I even think about it. It is her. Always her. Even when I am not speaking about her, she is still present in the background of my thoughts. Like a soft echo that never disappears. And I have started accepting something very real now, that she is not just someone I talk about. She is someone I feel. In everything. In small moments. In silent moments. In moments where nothing is happening outside, but everything is happening inside me. Sometimes, I imagine telling her everything. Not in pieces. But all at once. Every thought. Every feeling. Every silence she created inside me without even trying. But then I stop. Because some emotions feel more honest when they are not fully spoken. They feel more alive when they remain in the heart. Unfinished. Pure. And real. There is also something I have noticed about myself. When I talk about her now, I do not just describe her personality anymore. I describe my own feelings through her. Because she has become a reflection of what my heart experiences. When I say she is special, I am also admitting how deeply she has affected me. When I say she is kind, I am also expressing how softness entered my life because of her. When I say she is important, I am also revealing how my emotional world quietly revolves around her presence. And the strange thing is, she might not even realize any of this. She might not know how many times her name has crossed my thoughts in a single day. How many times my heart has paused at the idea of her. How many silent conversations I have had with her in my imagination. And yet, she continues to exist in me without effort. Without force. Without asking anything in return. That is what makes it deeper. Not intensity. But consistency. A feeling that stays even when nothing is happening. I have also learned something important through her presence in my life, that not every connection needs explanation. Some connections are felt more than they are understood. and maybe that is why I cannot fully describe her to others. Because what I feel for her is not just information. It is experience. A quiet emotional experience that lives inside me. Even now, as I write this, I realize she is present in every line. Not physically, but emotionally. Like an invisible thread connecting my thoughts to her existence. And the more I try to separate her from my words, the more she becomes part of them. It is strange, how someone can become your silence and your expression at the same time. Your calm and your storm at the same time. Your question and your answer at the same time. But she is exactly that for me. And I no longer try to escape it. Because I have started to understand something very simple, some feelings are not meant to be controlled. They are meant to be accepted. Softly. Honestly. And completely. And so I continue, with her name in my thoughts, her presence in my silence. And her feeling in my heart, always.